Hello there, welcome to another INFJ ramble. This recording is kind of going to be left field. I may or may not post it. Anyhow, okay, so let's talk about the mind. Let's compare the mind to a computer. How it has a hard drive and how it is constantly being upgraded or downgraded or defragged, reprogrammed, whatever. I am not a computer engineer. I'm just throwing it out there. Just so you can kind of get the gist of where I'm going with this topic. Okay, so I don't know about you, but lately I noticed that I'm really spacey. I'm spacey. On top of that, like, sometimes I feel like I am awake, but everything is like a dream. Does that make sense? I don't know. If you haven't experienced it firsthand, you probably think I'm talking nonsense, but seriously, I feel like I am awake, but in a dreamlike trance, if that even makes sense. And no, I don't do drugs. No, I don't do alcohol. I'm highly sensitive to these things, even like prescription drugs. My system cannot handle these things. I'm highly sensitive to these things. I do not need to take these things in order to access different dimensions of my mind because I'm already there. I feel. But anyhow, on top of feeling spacey and just like forgetting things, and sometimes people will be talking to me and I'll see their mouth moving and I'll hear sounds coming out of their mouth, but for some reason my brain cannot process what they're saying, so all it looks like is this. And I'm just like, I don't understand what you're saying. But yeah, and sometimes I ask them to repeat themselves, and sometimes my brain will process the information. Sometimes it just flies over my head, and I don't, like, I think most people would be concerned, like anxiety would kick in, fear would kick in, and they'd be like, oh my God, like, how come I'm not, able to process things in a way that is comprehensible? And why am I so spacey? And why do I forget so many things? Is it Alzheimer's? What's going on? Yeah, you know what? This could be so freaking off the wall. If you think about a lot of the things that seem like a sickness, if you want to call it a sickness, it's not a sickness, but the pharmaceutical companies and the higher powers that be want you to believe that so that they can give you a pill to suppress what you're currently undergoing, to repress your gifts. Does that make sense? Yeah. So what you go through, even though it's uncomfortable, completely normal. And people don't teach you this stuff, so of course you lack the understanding of it. And then because you lack the understanding, you go into a fear-based mode of thought, and then you freak out. You look for some type of stimulant to suppress what's coming to the surface, and then you just kind of stay there. Do you understand? I don't know if I'm making sense. If you really are interested in understanding the symptoms that occur within you, you should Google Ascension symptoms. Google Ascension symptoms. Yeah, like, your body is just upgrading. It's constantly changing. It's constantly transitioning in order to meet the current energetic blueprint of what's happening. You know what I mean? Because as the blueprint changes, you have to change with it too. Because if not, you get stuck. It's kind of like my wave analogy, you know what I mean? Like life is like this, but we have a tendency, instead of to just kind of move with it, we have a tendency to just kind of get stuck here while things are still moving along. And this creates a blockage, and this creates a lot of dis-ease, discomfort, symptoms. You know what I mean? It's because you're creating blockages within yourself. It could be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And usually when like something uncomfortable occurs, like instead of moving through it, you know, it's uncomfortable, nobody's explained it to you, they don't teach you this stuff in school, right? So you don't know what's happening, you don't know how to understand it, you become afraid, and so you are automatically inclined to become reactive and look for something to suppress the feeling instead of moving through the feeling. The most uncomfortable feelings are like, how do I say this? The most uncomfortable feelings that create the most pressure are like signposts, you know, letting you know that, okay, you've reached this point, but now you're gonna like take it to another level. You know what I mean? But you, like, I think, misinterpret the discomfort and the pain and the pressure as something wrong. There's nothing wrong. You just have to allow the process to unfold, you know, by getting out of the way, getting out of your own way. It's really hard because nobody's taught you this stuff, you know? And I just feel like for me personally, where I'm at now, I can't absorb information from books, from like the internet, from most things in general anymore, because I think I've upgraded my system and I don't really need to consult external things as much because I'm consulting my internal self, like my higher self. You know, I'm getting the answers from my higher self. I don't really need to go and like, you know, outsource because it's already here and I'm accessing that. My forgetfulness, it's because I'm trying to basically defrag, you know, defrag old systems and old conditioning and old patterns and old cycles that no longer work so that I can make space to implement new programs. You know what I mean? And then the spaciness part, I think it's because I'm just moving from a third dimensional realm to a fourth or fifth dimensional realm, you know? And it's funny, I was thinking about this one night. I was like, okay, so when we are awake, are we in a dream? And then when we close our eyes to sleep, is that reality? Like, what's going on? Like, who knows? Maybe this is the dream. And then when we finally close our eyes to sleep, we enter like what's really real. Who knows? I mean, consciousness is just so vast and limitless and mysterious. You know, you can't really grasp it. You know what I mean? But anyhow, yeah. Another thing, like if you're getting, dude, these immunizations, they're just trying to get you to like suppress stuff within yourself so that you don't evolve to the next level of being energetically, all this stuff that they're exposing you to, and they keep keeping your attention on like nonsense. Think about it. So if the more they can fragment you, the more you can they can control you, you know, because you're in pieces. They don't want you to practice like becoming a wholesome human being, a healthy human being. And so they keep feeding you like all these poisons in all these different variations and forms, whether it be like whatever you consume, you know, whatever you consume. They just keep fragmenting you so that they can control you, because if you became a holistic human being, you would realize and see clearly the propaganda that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, yeah, if you're like spacing out a lot, which I've been doing, even sleeping a lot, like I thought something was wrong with me. I'm like, how come I'm so tired all the time? It's because your freaking body is trying to, like, I feel like it's a self-preservation mechanism. Like, it's trying to realign itself and preserve what energy it has left and bring it back together instead of like fragmenting it out. Because when you're awake and you're constantly immersed in activity and distraction and doing and rushing and running, you know, you never really have the time to like bring it back, right? Because you're being fragmented out in all these different directions. So sleep is so good, and everybody thinks you're lazy if you indulge in it. That's because you're still in the old paradigm, man. They're still in the old programs, you know. We're like rising above that. It's not about being a robot, you know, a mechanism. It's about becoming a human being. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know if it made sense. And this is totally, totally crazy. Anyways, yeah, Ascension symptoms. Check it out if you're curious, if you're interested. I am not trying to force this upon anyone. You know, if you're ready to receive this information, then you receive it. If you are not ready, then that's cool too. You probably will be tuning out of this video or have tuned out already. Anyhow, blessings to one and all. Thank you for watching and have a beautiful night. Amen.